So good evening everybody and welcome to the Happy Healthy Homemaker's Kitchen. And I guess thank you to all of you guys for the way you've shared your budgeting worries and that kind of thing with food. And I just thought, it's made me realize that I actually do have something to share with you all. I can let you guys know the biggest change in our budgeting world as far as food goes was really paying attention to what was in the refrigerator and using it before it went bad. So I'll let you guys see my little process here, and this will be the very first episode of Fridge Organization Fridays. I may change the name there just depending on how it goes. So I will confess I didn't plan on doing this week, but there's definitely an urgency there and I didn't want to keep you guys waiting. So I'm going to jump right in. It's not very scripted or planned or anything, but I can let you know my process here. So right behind me is the fridge. We'll dive straight in here. So since I started I guess paying attention to where my money was going, I do this once a week. So it's Fridays, I clear out the fridge before I do my meal plan and before I grocery shop. So you may have noticed I've tried meal planning for a month. I've tried different ways of doing this. The most effective way I find and a cost efficient way is planning it weekly and clearing out the fridge before you go. This is where you're going to keep your perishable products, so this is where it's going to go. Please forgive me, I'm doing this it's right on midnight, but I wanted to do it on Fridays. I'm just squeezing it right in there, but I am tired. So let's get this done. Okay, so you'll see right here at the top shelf, this is where I keep my leftovers. So we use up the leftovers for lunch times. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull it out, I take out each section, I write down what's there, and then I pop it back in. Clean it and then I'll pop it back in. So I'll guide you through that this evening for cleaning. I personally use just Dawn dish soap on a cloth and just wipe down every shelf, but you can also use bicarbonate of soda just mixed with water if you prefer a more natural cleaning product. Let's get started right away. So what I have here is butter chicken sauce. The reason I do this is I make it ahead of time. It's much cheaper to do it in a big batch. It's a lot cheaper than buying it at the grocery store, plus you know exactly what's going into it. It's free of those additives, preservatives, plus the cost savings, which is what we really need to focus on at this stage. So I've got 2 jars of butter chicken. Right here I have the leftovers from this evening's meal, which was pasta bake. My favorite restaurant in Calgary, my favorite dish. My favorite restaurant shut down, so I have to try and figure out how to recreate my favorite dish, which is the, I believe it's 7 cheese ravioli in a cream sauce. So that's what I've been trying out this evening. I'm pretty close and I'm super excited, but it's not quite there yet, so we'll keep that. And this one is the pulled pork pasta bake skillet from last night. We used some for lunch, but this happened to give 8 servings, so there's enough for us to have this for lunch tomorrow. So what I do is when I stack them back in, I prioritize. Pasta keeps for about a day in the fridge. You want to use it within so we had it last night, we need to eat it up tomorrow, otherwise it would be going to waste. So it's this kind of thing where you can really save money, but you need to be aware of what's in the fridge. Right here I have just some leftover corn, mashed potatoes, sorry, stacking them up so you won't be able to see me here. Green beans, and shredded lettuce. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to wipe down that section. We'll close the doors as they're beeping at me. Once I've wiped it down, as I put things back in, I'll give you some ideas of what's kind of going through my mind, but it won't become finalized till I do my meal plan. I'll share my meal plan on the Happy Healthy Homemaker Facebook page, www.facebook.com/The Happy Healthy Homemaker. And if you have ingredients in your fridge that you need to use up, comment away and I will try and come up with a recipe for you or share what I would do with that product. So I will be right back. Okay, so just before I pop those things back in, I do have 2 lists. So this list is the stuff to use up that's in the fridge, but it doesn't need to be used right away. This is the stuff that's going to perish by the end of the week. And then this is what I work with to prioritize my meal plan. You keep this one on hand because you don't want to get to the end of the month and find that actually you've wasted food. It takes a little bit of organization, a little bit of practice, but it gets easier the more you do it. So we all know the nooks and crannies in the fridge. This is why I like to use Swedish dishcloth and just some dish soap on it, because then it gets into everywhere and keeps your fridge nice and sparkling clean and smelling super fresh. We're just going to pop these in. You're going to want to pop them back in the order that you need to use them. So we're going to pop the butter chicken sauce in first, as I have till the end of the month to use that. Well, next, this is my priorities, so I'll maybe serve the lettuce side, you know, as a side with the pasta, because if you're having a lot of pasta, you basically want 1 part carbohydrate, 1 part protein, and half your plate of vegetables. So you do, sorry, my brain is dead and I'm tired, quarter protein, quarter carbohydrate or starch, half vegetables. We'll pop the beans in. Potatoes go great if you're going to like make fish cakes or anything like that. So it's just an idea if you do have mashed potatoes, but you'll see what I come up with once I do my meal plan. So you've got mashed potatoes, green beans, corn. This lettuce really needs to be used ASAP. So I'm going to pop that at the front along with these pasta dishes. So that's that first little part of our fridge sorted out. Next, for the next section, generally this is all leftovers at the top, but I happen to buy bread when we're camping and then we never ended up using it. So I now have bread left here and I'll have to figure out how to use that this week because, again, I don't want to waste any money here. Okay, so one of the other beautiful things about doing your fridge and cleaning it all out right before you go grocery shopping is there's less in it. This makes for the cleaning much easier. You don't have as much stuff to move in and out. So this just makes life way easier, and that's what we're all looking for, right? Now with bread, if you don't figure this into your meal plan for the week, you can just pop it in the freezer. Then it doesn't go bad, but you know it's there. You can make it into seasoned breadcrumbs, pop those in the freezer. You know exactly what's gone into those breadcrumbs, aside from you don't know all the ingredients in your bread necessarily if you haven't made it from scratch. But it's still better than the store-bought breadcrumbs. It does really good for things like stratas. You can do French toast casseroles. And all these dishes, once they're made, they can go into the freezer so you have a stash there for when you get busy. Again, saving you some money. So I'll pop onto the next shelf, which is my dairy right here. I've got my, just my plain yogurt and sour cream. So I'll get that shelf cleared out and I'll be right back, guys. So anyone who saw yesterday's post about our breakfast will know that we have no problems using up yogurt. It's one of those things I don't even need to write down. It's always in my fridge. If we're not having oatmeal, you can do yogurt parfaits, you can add it into smoothies. Those ingredients that we have for breakfast are super versatile, just switch them up so you don't get bored of the same thing over and over again. So I always buy the big container of yogurt. I generally buy the 4 kilo one from No Frills as it works out cheaper, but I happen to shop at Walmart and this was the cheapest way to buy it at Walmart. So you will see things changing up just depending on the time that I have on my hands. Also, sour cream's another thing I always keep in the fridge. There's so many recipes, you can just add a nice creamy flavor to it just by adding in sour cream. So again, it's not something I write down, but it's something I know gets used up every time. So I'll move on to the next section, then I'll be right back with you. Okay, so in this next section is where I keep eggs or any ingredients I bought for specific meals in that week. We do like to support local where we can. So this does add to your costs a little bit, but it's offset because it means supporting local, it does come back and it helps us all out as a community. Okay, I will pop onto the next section, then I'll be back. I'll maybe give you guys a glance before I do this. So generally I keep this section for meats. I like to have them on the bottom shelf. A lot of the meats I buy in bulk, keep them in the freezer, and I just grab out what we need for that day. So I just pop them down here on a plate. But as you'll see, I'm kind of overrun with fruit and vegetables, so we're going to get organized with that. This week's kind of been one of those weeks where you just shove it in the fridge and hope for a space. So let's see if we can get that sorted while we're here. Okay, so that's the meat shelf cleared out. So I've just grabbed out some ground beef ready from the freezer, ready for dinner tomorrow evening. And then we have some bacon. We grabbed one of these giant boxes of frozen bacon from Safeway. It was on a really good deal. So it just helps us spread the budget a little bit further. This is how we tend to do things, buy it in bulk where we can and then defrost it. So I'll be right back in just a moment. Okay, so on to the last section, which is probably the hardest part to keep organized, is your fruits and vegetables. In this fridge, it's wonderful. There are the 2 drawers, so you can have one low humidity, one high. However, the last week we just had so much fruit and vegetables because we got our good food box that it was a matter of fitting things in where we could. So I'll unpack those and I can let you guys know what's in here as I put them back together. I empty them out completely, take them over to the sink, wash them, and then I just pop them in so that everything is nice and clean and crisp, ready for us to start the week. So a great way to use up vegetables that you may not use up in the course of the week is to make a soup. Soup, you can either eat it right away or else you can put it in the freezer and keep it for a later date. It's also a meal in one and a very frugal meal. You can get your starch, your protein, plus all your vegetables all in that one serving. Plus it's easy to grab, so you're never in that dilemma at lunchtime of what am I going to eat. You know you can eat a balanced meal. So what I do is I'm putting my vegetables back in, as I put the vegetables I'm going to use for soup right here. Generally speaking, I'm doing this process at noon-ish on a Friday, and then I make the soup during the afternoon. But as I'm doing this at midnight, it'll be a Saturday job this week. I just didn't want you guys to miss out with this video. Like I said, I didn't plan to do this, but I wanted to bring it to you as soon as possible. So here I am. In future weeks, I'll be doing this earlier in the day, and I'll just have it on my to-do list. Yeah, that just wasn't an option this week. Anyways, back on track here. I'm going to get these fruit and vegetables put in the fridge, and then I can talk you through that part. Okay, so that's our stuff slotted back in here. What I have right here is the vegetables I need to use up right away. I'll be putting them into soup. So I've got a red cabbage here, as I happen to have 3 of them. I've got some celery, I've got a carrot, but I'll grab some more vegetables and stuff as I go from my stash right here. I also have an onion, which I already chopped, so I'll use up the rest of that into the soup before I grab more from the pantry. Also chopped up, I had lemons and limes, so what I've done is I've just popped them there. I've put together a pitcher of water, and then there's always lemon and lime water on hand for anyone who wants that. So right here, the way you can tell what needs to go in the low humidity versus the high humidity is just where it is at the store for the most part. So if it's not in one of the fridges that sprays the water down, you want to put it in the low humidity box. If it's in one of those fridges that sprays the water down, you want that in the high humidity box. So you see my high humidity box is pretty full here. And I'll let you guys see what I have in store for the week once I get my meal plan up. As I've said before, that'll be popped up on my Facebook page, www.facebook.com/The Happy Healthy Homemaker, and wherever I have time, I will create a video of these meals. If you have items in your fridge, you want some tips on how to use them up, then drop me a message. I do have a couple more things where I have to sort out in this fridge, and then we're done. And the next up, you have your dairy. This is like for lunch meats, cheese, that kind of box. So let's get that sorted out. We'll just empty it out, give it a clean, write down the dates and stuff so we don't throw anything away. So again, from camping, in this box right here, I have a couple of things that I don't usually have. I have cheese slices and I have ham. So we're using up maybe with like grilled cheese sandwich, possibly doing like a Big Mac skillet kind of deal, possibly just some burgers, just to use those products up. So I don't want them to go to waste. I've also got some blue cheese in here, so I'll come up with something, maybe a buffalo blue cheeseburger, blue cheese sprinkle in the salad, even a macaroni cheese with blue cheese through it. So there's lots of options. There's no need to worry about how to use up these foods. It's just a matter of being aware of what we have, when they need to be used by, and using them up. Making this become a habit. So just get onto the doors of the fridge. I'll just give the fridge a moment there to cool down again, and I'll be right back, guys.